Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, today we are going to start with the practical class regarding the carcinoma of the gallbladder. I hope you recall from your theory lectures that the carcinoma of the gallbladder, which arises mostly from the body or fundus of the gallbladder, as we discussed in the chronic cholecystitis, we talked about the wall thickness, desmoplasia, etc., etc. I would try myself to limit to only the most important features and most important etiological factor. Carcinoma of the gallbladder is the most common malignancy of the extrahepatic biliary tract. What is meant by that? That it may involve starting from the body of the gallbladder down to the bile duct, while the intrahepatic are normally known as the cholangiocarcinomas. Though they may have a similar appearance to the carcinoma of the gallbladder, but they are traditionally known as the cholangiocarcinoma. It is slightly more common in women and occurs most frequently in the seventh decade of life. It takes long for the carcinoma to develop, and mostly the risk factor among these, the most important risk factor associated with gallbladder carcinoma is gallstones, which are found about in 95% of the cases. Morphologically, the carcinoma they may appear in two forms. There are two growth patterns. I gave you a reference of this in the chronic cholecystitis that may be infiltrating and exophytic. The infiltrating pattern is more common and it usually appears as a poorly defined area of diffuse thickening and induration of the gallbladder wall. What is meant by that? That the wall of the gallbladder is thickened and this thickening is irregular and it is much more than 3 times the normal thickness of the gallbladder, and it may cover several square centimeters or may involve the entire gallbladder. Remember that in case of chronic cholecystitis, that was the diffuse thickening involving almost all the gallbladder, but that thickness was usually uniform, but slightly it may be irregular. But in case of the carcinoma, it's usually irregular, though it may involve the entire gallbladder. These tumors are squirrous and have a very firm consistency. What is meant by that? If you have read the theory classes regarding the carcinoma of the breast, you might have read about the squirrous carcinoma. Squirrous simply means there is excessive deposition of the fibrous tissue, and that fibrous tissue gives rise to a firm consistency. The exophytic pattern grows into the lumen as irregular cauliflower-like masses, but at the same time invade the underlying wall. Remember, the projection is into the lumen as well, but there is infiltration into the wall of the gallbladder as well. The luminal portion may be necrotic, hemorrhagic, and ulcerated, which are the features of the malignancy and in fact the advanced malignancy. The most common sites of involvement are the fundus and the neck. About 20% they involve the lateral walls, either of the gallbladder walls. Here is a photograph of the gross appearance of the exophytic growth. You can see it is markedly hemorrhagic and it is appearing as a fungating growth which is involving the lateral wall and projecting into the lumen of the gallbladder. This is a gross appearance of the infiltrative carcinoma which grows in a diffuse fashion in the distal wall of the gallbladder. Here it is, and it is associated with extensive involvement of the liver as well. Histological appearance. Regarding the histological appearance, carcinoma of the gallbladder are adenocarcinomas. As you know, the gallbladder is lined by the tall columnar mucus-filling epithelium. So the carcinoma they arising from here, they acquire the features of the adenocarcinomas. They may be derived from adenomas, which are the simple benign tumors of the wall of the gallbladder, or the papillomas, which are present in 1% of the cholecystectomy specimens. That the cholecystectomy which are performed in about 1% of the cases you may have or you may see the adenomas. And some of these carcinomas, they are papillary in architecture and are well to moderately differentiated. Most tumors have a morphological appearance that is common to adenocarcinoma of the pancreatobiliary region. That is well-formed glands with wide lumina lined by one or a few rows of highly atypical cuboidal cells. The thing to be remembered here is that even in the very well differentiated tumors, though they may be forming structures similar to what are found in the pancreas and the biliary tract, but they would be lined by an epithelium which shows all the features of the malignancy. What is meant by that? That there is a marked cellular anaplasia, cellular pleomorphism, increased size of the nuclei, high NC ratio. These features would be found in that lining epithelium. And these, by one or a few rows of highly atypical cuboidal cells surrounded by a cellular stroma, often arranged concentrically. It is characteristic for these glands to be well differentiated at an architectural level, but poorly differentiated at a cytological level. This is very important. Remember that architectural atypia is not so marked as compared to the cellular atypia. Here is a histological appearance. You can see the papillary architecture, the papillae which are growing into the lumen, and they are lined by markedly pleomorphic epithelium. It may be in some instances multi-layered as well. Here is another picture showing you the adenocarcinoma. You can see the well-formed glands along with infiltration by the mononuclear cells, and there is a stromal infiltration as well.